Chopping it up with G and Z. Chopping it up. 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 Chopping it up with G and Z.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to Chopping It Up with G and Z. This will be episode 5. What's going on, my brother? What's happening with you?
Man, freezing out here, man. It's like -5 right now. It's something stupid. They say the real feel is like 18, like -18 right now. So man,
Hey,
man, freezing. That's what I'm doing. How about you? Y'all all right?
man, we good, man. We packed up on the groceries. I caught myself out yesterday trying to make sure we were good to go on groceries. And, bro, it's getting terrible, man. The freeze bowl of 2021 makes
Yeah,
no sense, man.
it's definitely terrible out there.
So, man, what else? Everything else cool with you, man?
Yeah, man, just everything cool, ready to talk about it. Let's get into it.
All right, let's start it up, man. So, let's start it up with our political chop up. We had a impeachment trial this last weekend, I should say, went all the way into the weekend. And your boy Donald Trump was acquitted from the Senate, which actually is kind of weird because when you look at it, there were like 57 votes for guilty and like 40 something votes for not guilty. But because of the rules in the Senate, and because of the rules, they need a super majority, I guess, to actually find him to be guilty. And they didn't come up with it, man. So you saw the end of it. What were your thoughts on the whole thing, man? I don't know if you did you actually watch any part of the trial last week at all, or listen to it?
Yeah, I watched the man, I watched the I want to say I watched all the days that the House managers presented their case. I didn't watch the I didn't watch his defense attorneys after their opening argument. But
Oh,
yeah, which was terrible. Um
bro, can we just first talk about that though? Like,
Dude, the one
man,
dude
I
looked like
was
he
actually
was
surprised.
yeah, the one dude like he was amazed. He was like, well, this is I was like, bro,
This
that's
is
not how you
great.
supposed to he was like, well, the video. I was like, this is not how you want your defense team to start up. Like, man.
Hey, man, listen. If I'm ever in trouble and you have to represent me, the last thing I want you to do is get up there and say the prosecution did a great job.
Yes, that was yeah, I was like, what? And
I
then
say,
the crazy
what are you
thing,
doing?
the crazy thing is too, man, to tell you like how terrible those lawyers were, they didn't get better. You know what I'm saying? They didn't get better. What they did was
Mm-mm.
they like decided that we were gonna say this is unconstitutional because he's not in office right now. And they lived on that point. And I think they also understood too that there was enough votes for them to actually get impeached. So they didn't really take it
Mm-hmm.
seriously, man, which says a lot, man. I kept on I was watching like the first day when they were playing the videos and they were
Oh,
like, this is what happened, and this is what it was happening then. And then they played the reaction from the Republican people, like their own reaction to what was going on. I was like, bro, them their own words. These are what you know what I'm saying? This is what you're saying. And so that first day was crazy for them to do that. And the second day, when they were looking, you know what I'm saying? Because I watch MSNBC. I switched between MSNBC and CNN, and they was like, it's like 15 of the senators, the Republican senators, ain't here. Like one of the dudes is over here playing on his phone. One dude was looking at a map of Asia. I was like, what? And I was like, bro, they're not even taking it serious, man. So I knew at that point, man, that it wasn't gonna be a good thing. So I was kind of like, I still think the house managers did a great job at man, and I just wish they would have did more about that call between the majority leader and Trump that day when he was begging them to come to what I'm saying, when he was begging them to come. But I wish they would have been able to call witnesses and that kind of thing
mm-hmm.
too. But I guess that would have made it go on too long. I don't know. But
You know what, man? That's my thing that kind of tripped me out though. Because I mean, I thought the first day. when they laid out the video, it was pretty much, bro, that should have been a wrap right there.
It should
But
have.
I remember when the second day, the second or third day, I can't remember which one it was, but I was like, okay, this seems like a little fluffer or something to kind of, trying to get their time up or whatever the case is. But on Saturday, I was actually shocked because they said, okay, we're going to try to call witnesses. And then they deliberated a little bit more. And I guess they tried to make some rules up in the Senate about who witnesses could be, or, who could call witnesses, and so forth and so on. And I thought it was very interesting. I thought the Democrats kind of just was like, nah, never mind, screw it. Because I think the Republicans, like always, Republicans kind of just bogarted and was like, if you try to call witnesses, we're going to do this and this and this and this. And I think Democrats just laid down and was like, never mind, we just ain't going to do it. But I think it would have been cool to hear from, I know that all the senators there were witnesses to the whole thing, but I think it would have been cool if they would have called a couple of cops who were actually working, some of the DC police who were working, and been like, what do you think, or tell us your experience and what happened. I think that would have been, number one, it would have actually gave them more public sentiment to be like, okay, this was foul. You know what I mean?
And I think, I hear what you're saying, man, but I think to myself too, though, you seen Mitt Romney, you seen the guard come through and grab Mitt Romney and be like, nah, bro, this way. Like, you know what I'm saying? And you seen where they were like, these people just left and now these people are in here. These people, like to me, they established so much of that, man, that I think at a certain point, man, it was just like, okay, so y'all not gonna.
Well, no, but you remember when there was something new that came out that I didn't know from basic, just news coverage or whatever. But they said that there was a black cop who was like talking to another friend after everything happened and was like, man, I got called the N-word like 15 to 17 times today. You know what I'm saying?
They played it in court. They played it during they played that part. They actually showed No. Okay.
Yeah. But I mean, what I'm saying though is, imagine if he would have actually been able to speak on that. You know what I mean? Like a real trial. Like, okay, let's call him up real quick and he tell his story. I think that would have hit people a lot more than just having a senator up there saying this is what happened, or showing his picture up and saying, oh, this is what he said. Like, if a brother was sitting there, a DC cop was sitting there and said, hey, man, these people came in and they called me a nigger, they called me this, they was calling me all kind of names. They tore down, you know what I'm saying, all these pictures it's just all kind of stuff. Rebel flag flying through here, whatever the case is. I think it would have been good to have it coming from the actual cops' point of view. I mean, that's my only thing. I think that it probably wouldn't have changed any minds, of course, because I felt like the Republicans just, man, they just cowards. I said it, and they're basically just cowards, man. How you gonna kowtow to a dude who's no longer in office, but you need his supporters so that you can get reelected? So,
did you see what Lindsey Graham said today?
Sure.
He said Donald Trump is
what did he say?
He said Donald Trump is the strongest Republican in the country. He said his legacy won't be tarnished, and he's the strongest Republican in the country. So to me, man, like, my thing is, like, I hear what you're saying, man, but I think it goes back to that conversation we had last week, man. I think Republicans are cool with racism. Like, racism doesn't bother them. And then at the same time, too, we haven't heard nobody say, you know what I'm saying, we back the blue since January the 6th. I haven't heard anything about Blue Lives Matter. You know what I'm saying? That stuff only matters when it's black people. When it's white people attacking police officers, ain't nobody say nothing. And this is what bothers me. There hasn't been any white people to be like, no, that's wrong, or we don't do that. I haven't seen a strong surge of white people being like condemning the rioters for them attacking police officers. So that once goes again to like the thing is like, it's only black people when y'all worry about stuff. If it was white people doing exactly what black people are doing, nobody would say nothing. If white people were out protesting because of something and things turned violent, would nobody say nothing? They would be like, hey, those people, that's their right. And you know what I'm saying? It's the same thing with these masks and all this extra stuff. Is when white people do it, it's okay, it's acceptable. But when anytime somebody else do it, that's when it's a problem.
Man, and man, I think the point needs to continue to be made that if this mob that ransacked the Capitol was Muslim, was black, was all Hispanic, was anything but white people, what do you think would happen? I mean, and let alone, I mean, people know that if it was Muslims, oh Lord Jesus, they be on Fox News right now talking about how this story would not be done. They be talking about Sharia law. Some crazy stuff that all Muslims are trying to make this their country and so forth and so on. Or we need to open up another Gitmo. Extremists
Bro,
have taken over. All kind of stuff. If it was Democrats, if this was actually a Democratic group that did this, oh man, dude, bro, it would be all over. Like, oh gosh,
yeah.
they're trying to start socialism on us, and man, it'd be crazy. But since it's far right wing crazy loons, they just kind of cave in and be like, it is what it
It
is.
almost
It's
it
crazy.
al-
It's crazy,
it
man.
almost feel like
So,
Democrats just like are consistently bullied by Republicans, and they just like they'll be like, oh, I'm just gonna let it be. Like, bro, I don't know, man. It's a weird thing, man, because I went back and listened to your conversation about the Republicans and how they just like, I'm a Republican and I hate Democrats and so. And I see a lot of that too, man. I think that coupled with the racism and just the gun talk, and it just seems like right is just like crazy. And instead of confronting them, the left is like, let's just be nice to each other and let's just, you know what I'm saying? Like, bro, at some point, y'all gonna have to stand up and be AOC or be Bernie Sanders for real and be like, Lou, this is what we're doing. I don't care what you think or what you think about it. But that playing friendly and
you know
and,
what?
and
But
reach across the aisle talk, you can't do that all the time.
you know what's crazy, man? I actually thought about it the other day too. Like, um, you know that it's. I think somebody brought up the point when I was listening to the news on Sunday. Yesterday, I was watching the morning news shows or whatever, and one person brought up the point that Republicans haven't won a popular vote since like George H.W. Bush, like not George Bush that we know, his
Hmm.
daddy Bush.
Yeah.
You know how long ago that was, man? Like,
But that's why that's why they always so super about like redrawing the district lines and stuff like
yeah,
that, because they
gerrymandering.
understand that, yeah, they understand that they can't win a popular vote, so they have to do those little tricky things for them to be able to surge in the areas where they, you know what I'm saying, like that kind of thing. So
But it also made me think, like, dude, um, after Clinton was in office, and granted, we probably weren't into politics like we are now because we was younger and blah blah blah. But after Clinton left office, apparently, like there was a surplus, jobs were good. Then in comes George Bush, and everything goes to crap.
he reapplied
Then
the trickle
Obama
down.
comes in. Yeah, and it's like they keep on doing their stuff and jacking up stuff, and then Democrats have to come in and like, you know what I'm saying? But I don't think a Democrat has ever really just done their whole plan like the Republicans do. Like when Republicans get in office, like when 45 got in office, man, they was passing stuff left and right. They literally
Hmm.
did the tax. You know what I'm saying? They basically just did the tax thing where they gave tax things away. It was like, oh, we're just gonna basically give tax benefits to everybody. And all the rich get tax cuts.
Yeah.
They did that. They took away all. I mean, basically, they took away all kind of regulations on the markets, and I mean, just all kind of stuff. They get to push their agenda through. But then
Yeah.
when Democrats get in office, they get held to a standard where if they push their agenda through, they're, oh my goodness, oh, we're turning into a socialist society. All right. I'm like, dude, why don't they just? That brings me to my next discussion with you, man. Do you think Democrats just need to go ahead and bully ball it and say, you know what, no matter what happens, we just gonna pass everything like the Republicans did?
Man, I think for me, what happens is that I feel like Republicans get in the office and they do whatever the hell they want to do. And then I think Democrats get in the office and then they be like, well, this is the way the system is supposed to work. You know what I'm saying? This is how this is supposed to happen. This is about, so then they go off of what we were taught in school, that how government is supposed to work. And Republicans don't care about that unless they don't have power. When they don't have power, they'd be like, well, that's not the rightest thing to do. So to me, I think Democrats have to do the same thing Republicans do, man. Get in office. And I think I honestly think that's part of the reason why you keep on having the swing from Republican to Democrat, Republican to Democrat.
Left
If
and right.
Democrats
Yeah.
came out and just was like, hey, we're going to do this, we're going to take care of our people. If you don't like it, outvote us next year. But we're going to come out. And I think that would, just like that, the Trump did with the racism, and people were like, hey, I'm racist. I love Trump. You know what I'm saying? I think the same time, if I think if Democrats came out and they were like, we're going to be aggressive in what we're doing. This is our thing. We're going to talk about racial equality. We're going to talk about police reform. We're going to do this, and we're going to pass every bill that we want to pass. I think that will keep Democrats coming back out and voting. I think what happens is Democrats will vote for Obama, and then they'll be like, man, he ain't do nothing that we needed him to do. Not saying that was his fault, because we talk about it all the time. But I think, and then we get Trump, and things be so bad to be like, well, we got to go and vote because we can't have him for. And then he, you know what I'm saying? Like, so I think they have to consistently push their message and stop falling back and stop trying to be core. You know what I'm saying? Like trying to be nice and trying to be cordial with everybody. Man, this is our agenda. This is what we're gonna do. We have control for the next 6 years. This is what we're gonna do. If you don't like it, outvote us. And I think that's gotta be the way they go.
I agree. Here's what I think, man. I think that if it's almost like Obamacare. You remember when Obamacare was first started up, man, and how everybody, my bad, man, how everybody and their mama was like, had they 2 cents about what, medical coverage should be and what it should look like, what a new bill should look like. And it was unpopular for a while because I think a lot of people hijacked it and said, this is what they're doing, blah, 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 blah. Well, now, if you ask anybody about Obamacare, they're like, man, I want my kids to stay on till they're 26. I want my
26.
You know what I'm saying? No pre-existing conditions. All that stuff that Obamacare did became popular. And so now it's almost dang near impossible for anybody to go in and gut it because people are going to be upset. Even Republican people that know they benefit from it. So I think that's what Democrats need to do. They need to actually do something for the people. And then that way they can come back and be like, okay, Republicans are trying to take what we did away. But it's so popular, almost like, to me, I think that's what they need to do with the minimum wage. Like, dude, if you're going to do the minimum wage, do it. Because I guarantee you when you do it, it's going to be popular enough with people, with voters. Now, it may not be popular with these big business tycoons or whatever, because they got to pay their people more, but it's going to be popular with more of the country. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And people are going to be like, no, you can't just get an office to take that away. We're not going to be cool with that. So I think you got to do something that's going to be popular. And on top of that, like with, with the judicial reform, we got to hold their feet to the fire on that. Like, I feel like if that's not done within this first year, then Black folks need to be out in droves. Like, okay, Biden, you tripping? You know what I'm saying? Like, you promised this. We got it. We march in these streets. You know what I'm saying? You got to get something done on this prison system, man. This is messed up, and you were part of it. You know what I'm saying? Like, hold his feet to the fire. Like, you were part of this whole prison industrial complex system where we got so many of our people who are still in jail for weed crimes. You know what I'm saying? And weed is legal in what? Half
like
the
30,
states now? So
37, 38 states. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's time to do something about that. You know what I mean? But anyway, man, we stay on the political chop for a little bit too much if we get down to it. But let's hop up into some sports real quick, brother. We got some bad news out in Lakerland. AD has gone down, man. I think the last news I heard is he's going to be reevaluated within a couple of weeks. Had a bad was it hamstring or his actual Achilles?
This is Achilles, but they said it's like 2 to 3 weeks, man. To me, it's not bad news. For me, it's not super bad news, man. His Achilles wasn't doing right no way. So, man, I would have rather him like sit out, man. Like, just sit out and rest up and make sure you're all right, man. Because the thing is, like, I'm cool with AD taking a month off. I'm cool with him because you got the All-Star break coming up too. Get him some extra rest, man. Like, we don't, bro. We got the second or third best record in the league, bro. We'll be fine for some games without him. You know what I'm saying? So, I just, especially on this shortened season, we just won a championship in October. So man, let him rest. That's what I say, man. We'll be fine with whatever happens, man. Monitor LeBron minutes. Don't let LeBron play 50 minutes every game, trying to win every game. Man, let's just go out there, make sure we're in the right form, and
Yo,
keep going the right way.
I mean, that actually is what scares me, is the fact that I don't want LeBron playing 40 minutes a game. And
At
I
all.
don't even want him playing 36 minutes a game. I'd rather LeBron be at about the 27 to 31 minute mark, and then let them young cats get in and get some reps, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Um,
agree.
I don't know, bro. Like I'm cool with like I said it last week too, man. Like I'm cool with us getting into the playoffs. Once we get into the playoffs, I want everybody on the A game. I want everybody healed up. I want everybody refreshed and ready to go. And I think that if we have a healthy LeBron and AD, and we'd be unstoppable no matter who we play. You
Or
know what I
where we
mean?
play.
So yeah, or where we play. Should we play in the
Yeah.
bubble last year and won? So yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I'm cool with that. Speaking of, man, do you think we because I think it came up today that Andre Drummond, they're sitting him in Cleveland.
Mm-hmm.
They're probably going to pretty much buy out his contract on his remaining year. You know, all the stuff that's going on in Washington with Beal, and people
Mm-hmm.
are already talking trades with Beal. Do you think we need a good pickup, man, or what? Or do you think we're just cool with what we got?
Man, we definitely need a pickup, man. We got to do something. Like the more I see Mark Gasol, man, the more I just can't really, bro. We're dying there, man. Like, and I don't really think we need nobody who could come in and give us, you know what I'm saying, 20 points and so and so. We just need a big, like a big running big that can play where Trez can play four, you know what I'm saying, where Trez can play the 4 or 5, where he's not stuck playing the 5 all the time, where AD don't
Yeah.
have to play the 5 all the time. So I just think, bro, but that's why I
Mhm.
hate that we lost Dwight Howard. I think if we would have kept Dwight Howard, and I don't understand why
Or
they paid
JaVale.
or JaVale, but I don't understand why they paid
Yeah.
Gasol that money, man. Because I'm like, bro, he's terrible. And I wanted to hold on to it, man.
Bro,
But the more I look at it, the more terrible he is, man. And I can't really justify why they got him because he's not even playing at this point. He's not even playing a lot of minutes no more,
no, I mean, literally playing like what, maybe 10 to 12 minutes a night. He'll
bro.
get you one, maybe 1 3 ball. And on defense, I'm sorry, but he sucks. Like, I mean, you know, he'll clog up the lane here and there, but dude, he can't switch off. He can't, you know, he doesn't really do a good job of guarding the stretch four if they do switch off on him. He looks slow. He looks old. And bro, I don't get it. We talked about it, and I don't get it, man. I don't understand the reasoning behind it, and
Yeah,
it don't look good with the solid lineup. It just don't. But
it
I feel
don't,
like it'd
man.
be great if we picked up Andre.
Big.
I feel like if we picked up Drummond, that'd be
I think it will
solid
be too,
pickup.
man, but I don't think we'll have enough money to pick him up, man. Unless he just be cool with getting bought out and be like, I'll come to the Lakers for a little bit of nothing. You know what I'm saying? And that might happen. I'm never going to say that won't happen because everybody wants to win the championship. And so if you get your regular salary and they be like, the Lakers want you and you know you go there and really compete for a ring, that's enough to entice
Yeah,
most people. You know what I'm saying? But I
yeah.
kind of
So
did want to get back
if
because
they buy him out,
we had this conversation last weekend where y'all told me where I told you I thought the East was top heavy, and y'all said the East was better than the West now. I think that's what we talked about last week. And I text you
okay. Well,
yesterday.
let me hold on. Let me stipulate this though, man. I gotta say the East to me is top heavy. The top 4 teams to me are probably top hit. Well, the more I think about it now, I have to take that back. I'm gonna have to take that one back.
Yeah, because I definitely hit you. I was like, bro, that's wrong. Because when I was looking at Golden
Yeah.
State was playing the Nets the other day, and it was like the Nets were 15 and 12, and they were third in the East. And the Warriors were
Mm-hmm.
14 and 12, and they were eighth in the West. And I was like, bro, the West is always better than the East. There's no way that because you in the West, pretty much you have 10 teams every year that's competing for 8 spots.
Yep.
Whereas in the East, you pretty much have that top, and then you have the other people. You always have 2 teams that's gonna make it to the playoffs, probably with losing records every year in the East.
Or even up, or like 50-50. Yeah. I mean, basically,
Yeah.
man, it's rough too, man. Because I look at that, I looked at it again, and I was like, dude, it's true though because the I mean, like the games between like number 4 and number 10. In the West, it's only like a game and a half between those seeds, man. And you're right. At the end of or getting close to the playoffs every year out west, there's a jockeying for that 7th, 8th seed. You know what I mean? Or
Yeah.
that 6th through 7th, 8th seed. And bro, I mean, I will be surprised if Dallas makes it. But heck, they could go on a 20 game, and win 18 out of 20 or whatever, and they'll be right back in the contention.
Bro, I have nothing against Dallas personally, man, but Luka's shot is not consistent enough for me to bank on him doing anything, man. Like he can't shoot
No.
free throws. He don't have a 3-point shot. He is big and he knows how to get his shot. You know what I'm saying? But to me, I'm not comfortable enough in them for me to pick them above like a Portland or Phoenix
Oh no.
or you know what I'm saying? Like so. I I only say that to say this because at the beginning of the season, everybody picked Luka to be an MVP. Like he was the clear choice to be the MVP, and I was like, I think he's good, but I don't think he separated himself from the people that he came into the league with. I don't think that most, you know what I'm saying. Like
Hey,
if you had Devin Booker, you had Trey Young, you had Donovan Mitchell, you know what I'm saying. You had Jamal
Donovan Mitchell.
Murray. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? All of them dudes, you know what I'm saying? I think all of them dudes are good. I think everybody, Zach LaVine, you know what I'm saying? I think if you really look at those dudes, everybody would be like, well, I'll pick this one. I'll pick this one. But it won't never be a hands down, we are going to take this person first. So I hated that they crowned him this year before he
Yeah.
even did anything, man. But they always want to crown somebody. And then there's the dude from the Spurs. Man, he got a long name. But he is actually DeJounte, man, I wish I remembered his name. But there's a young cat for the Spurs. It's hard, like seriously hard. And I think everybody's so caught up in Luca because the obvious reason. But I think there's a lot of talent around the league, and
Yeah.
I don't think there's no separation. You know what I'm saying? When we talk about the top 5 people, I'm gonna say every year LeBron, KD, Steph, James Harden. You know what I'm saying? That crowd, Giannis. You know what I'm saying? And Luca's not in that crowd to me. Period. Luca's
No, I don't
Luca's
think so either. I think Luca is a solid. I think this year is a terrible year for him. He's
agreed.
shooting like 30-some% from 3-point line. And he can't find a rhythm in his shot. On top of that, man, I think that they are missing uh some pieces over there that they got rid of, man, and it just don't look good. Like they don't look good when I watch them play. Portland beat them like 2 nights ago, and
Hmm.
uh Luca's the only one. Luca was the only reason that they even close to being. I think he hit like 40-some points, but
Yeah,
it was actually the game show. Dame Dollar is the one who closed the show on them. I
but
think the reason why people loved Luca was because of that the game winner he hit in the first round, and you know what I'm saying. But at the same time, I'm like, y'all must have missed the first round of the playoffs when Donovan Mitchell and Jamal Murray were like spotting
agreed.
up for 50 every night. Like,
Yeah,
dude,
agreed.
them cats was going hard. So yeah, man. I don't see them making the playoffs. I can say that much about Dallas. I don't see it unless something crazy happens and they just go on some kind of a insane run. But to me, it's just so packed up in the West that it's going to be hard to pull off one of those great runs like that. Like, unless you
Yeah.
have a team that's solidly built like the Lakers are and they're healthy and playing defense, it's going to be hard to do that, man. Speaking of, the two best are playing tonight. And I wish you could watch that game, man, but the Utah Jazz and the 76ers. And I got to say, man, before we end off on the NBA, I am now a solid fan of these 76er crew, man. They really look good. Like, and the Utah Jazz. I mean, I can't even complain, man. I'm sitting here watching them, before we got on and kind of skimming it while we in, man. These cats are playing ball right now.
Yeah, I'm not mad at that at all, man. Especially, I was always, I am big on the Utah Jazz, but I was always big on Donovan Mitchell, man. Donovan Mitchell is hard. He's a special player, man. I think, and I think you know what I'm saying, and I'll say this over and
Hey,
over
let me give
again.
you.
I think as
Uh-huh.
for the 76ers, I think Brett Brown, the coach that they had for the last 3 or 4 years, was a terrible coach. And I think you're seeing the difference right now
Yeah.
between having a terrible coach and having a good coach. Not saying that Ben Simmons ain't
Mm.
improved the jump shot or Embiid is more healthy than he was before, but I think Brett Brown was the reason that they lost in the playoffs when they lost to Toronto that year. It was he got out coached, and I think the
Man,
year before that he got out coached by the Celtics coach. So to me,
yeah,
I
Brad Stevens.
yeah, nothing personal to nobody else, but I think the difference for them right now is just that they have a better coach, and that shows.
And you know what else, man? When you watch them play, like I, I'm, I think I've watched probably a good 5 or 6 games of them this season. The one thing that I do notice, man, is that they are defined in what they do now. Like, you know how when you was watching them play beforehand, they would be kind of like all over the place. Like, you know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? Like it'd be like just one-on-one ball, no matter what. One-on-one ball here, no set play runs. If they did do a set play run, it was kind of like jangled up a little bit. Now they look defined like, okay, we know who our number one option is. Our number one option is going to Embiid. Embiid is playing like a number one option. Dude, if he wins MVP this year, I will not even be mad about that. I mean, I will put him in the MVP race along with LeBron, along with Giannis. I mean, he's up the way he's playing right now. I would definitely put him in that race, man. And because he's demolishing people, dude. He's playing like a real big man too. Like he's passing out of the double team when it comes, and they got some shooters. Like they have some real shooters, and everybody knows their role, and you can see it when they play now. It's just a completely different.
Bro, that's coaching
I
to
can
me.
see them getting
Like
out of the East. Yeah,
I just keep on saying to you, man. That to me, that's nothing but coaching. I mean, to me, like when you look at their roster, the only person that they really got different, they got Seth Curry. You know what I'm saying? They went and got Seth
yeah,
Curry, but I don't think they
which is
really
a
have
big
any.
pickup.
Yeah, and I don't think they really have anything different from what they had before, man. And so to me, it just continued to come back to coaching. And as far as the MVP
Yeah,
race, man, I don't believe Giannis can win another MVP, man. Not until he go and do something in the playoffs, man. To me, I think
yeah,
for if you keep on saying they have like we talk about Kobe should have won more MVPs. We always say Michael Jordan should have won more MVPs, but people had like voters had fatigue from them winning so many. But I think for you to be the best player or one of the top three best players in the season, then go and prove it in the playoff year after year. I don't care what kind of fatigue you have. If LeBron plays like he plays for the rest of this year, he should have his sixth MVP trophy. I don't care. I don't care what else happens because he's proved that he can do it.
yeah.
Y'all keep on giving Giannis these MVPs, man, and he's out in the first and second round of the playoffs every year. Like that just don't make sense to me.
Hey, and you know one other reason why I would not give it to Giannis. I say he's in the talk, but I wouldn't give it to him.
He hasn't
Is
improved his
when you
game.
watch them play, Giannis cannot. Well, it's not even just that. Giannis is not like a big shot maker. When you watch their games, man, if they're
No.
down, he has a way of he has like a no go to. If you're on a team, if you're the superstar on a team, and it's 10 seconds left to play, and you're down by one, do you give the ball to Giannis or do you try to run a play to give it to what's the dude's name?
Middleton.
Shooter.
Middleton.
Middleton.
I
I would
would
rather
rather
run a play and give it to Middleton because I can't trust. Yeah, they're gonna foul Giannis and he can't shoot free throws.
yep.
You know what I'm saying? Like, there's too many negatives that go along with giving him the ball at the last second of the game. That's something that I would be like, okay, I can't have you as an MVP if I can't even trust you on your team to give you the ball with 10 seconds left to win the game for us. And the last couple of games, man, when they were down, the one game I can't remember who they were playing, but he missed the last second shot, couldn't put it in. I would have rather seen Middleton have the ball. You know what I mean? Like Giannis will overpower a team and smother a team, and he can get his, 35 to 40 points, 10 assists, like 12 rebounds, maybe 5 or 6 assists. You
Hmm.
put the numbers up, man, but it's just something about not going to him in the stretch. He still can't shoot the free throws right. Dude, like get that part of your game down, man. and then start giving this man, get him out of the first round, second round, get him at least to the actual conference finals, then I feel better about giving him some more MVP trophies. This he
Agreed.
can be a killer out there on the court, but I just don't see him as an MVP. Yeah.
Agreed. I definitely agree, man.
All right, man. So yeah. All right, man. So with the sports, let's move on to chopping it up with movies, music, and culture, brother. You got a chance to watch Judas and the Black Messiah this weekend, didn't you?
Yeah, man. I actually got to watch Judas and Black Messiah, and I got to watch American Skin too. So I know you had talked about American Skin the
Oh,
week before. So,
yeah. What you think about
bro,
it, man? Give me your opinions on both of them.
I will tell you what my first thought was that coming off of One Night in Miami, then watching American Skin, and then watching Judas and the Black Messiah, I was like, bro, these are three excellent black movies, man. And I think we talked originally about One Night in Miami. The dude who played Malcolm X. You thought he had a standout performance. Where I was like, I thought they all were good, and I think Malcolm X and the dude who played Sam Cooke did an amazing job. Then now going into American
Mm-hmm.
Skin, man, man, Nate, I know Nate Parker is Nate Parker, man, but he did an excellent job, man. I thought the storyline was great. I thought they tackled all the extra things, like especially having the police there, and then having, like, not to spoil the movie, but to have the jury that they had who tried the case when they tried it again, and just to hear the excuses and to the tired language that we hear every time a black person is killed by the police, and to actually hear this is, you know what I'm saying, this is the reason, and this is, you know what I'm saying. So to me, I thought that was an amazing, amazing movie, especially the ending.
Yeah.
It just went to show you, just like, no matter what happens, it's always gonna be the same thing. Then with Judas and the Black Messiah, man, it was so crazy how they continued to say the Black Party Panther was exactly like the KKK, yet they hadn't like gave all these resources to these people to infiltrate the KKK and take them down like they did the Black Panthers. You know what I'm saying? They burned up their office. They were the police officers were like talking noise to them and like trying to provoke them to do stuff. Man, and then just to kind of see like the way they had Fred Hampton go to the different gangs and go to the different groups
Mm.
and like unify these people in a way that, like, you know what I'm saying, when they had the thing, there was the Hispanic people, there was the white people, there was the black people, there was the gangs, and I was just like, oh, that's a lot of power, man. And then this the way for it
Yeah.
to conclude the way that it concluded, man, it was a great movie, but at the end of the day, man, I felt like as black people, man, we should have did more about that. Or like why do we let that happen? Or why do we continue to let people do us the same way, and then we set back instead of, you know what I'm saying, like when they were showing the breakfast in the morning and then reciting the, you know what I'm saying, the little whatever they were saying, and you know what I'm saying, I'm a revolutionary and like that kind of thing, man. Like they were trying to build something. They were protecting black people from the police. Like though the things they were doing in 1968 are problems that we are facing here right now in 2021, which that makes no sense at all, man. But I thought it was an excellent movie,
Yeah.
man. Definitely thought it was an excellent movie.
Man. Hey, man. So just let's get this out of the way real quick. Spoiler warning. Spoiler warning. So if you have not seen either movie, if you don't want to be spoiled, stop watching right now and pick it up in the next 10 minutes or whatever. Let's go ahead and spoil these movies, man. American Skin, number one. I think you were right on. I think that the what caught me was the scene in the police station where everyone got a chance to talk. And then I loved the young brother's speech at the end when he got put into jury duty.
Yep, agreed.
Uh, the dude
The
who was
dude,
actually filming.
yep,
Yeah, his speech at the end also got me too. Because he was like, I'm black, but I grew up in I grew up in a middle class home, blah, 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 blah. Some of the things I haven't seen, but I've heard about, and I see this and I see that, and I see this and I see that. I was like, okay, that's great. But I also thought that the underlinings were great throughout all those scenes. You got to experience, number one, uh, the police officer who was, you got to see really like maybe a police officer who was probably on the fence, You got to see a woman police officer speak out, you know what I'm saying, about issues that she sees.
Correct.
You got to see it from the police officer who probably didn't think about race, definitely thought about it as, I'm scared of these people. But then you got to ask him, why are you scared? Is it a bias? And I loved how he basically got it all out there and was like, listen, you wouldn't have even pulled us over had we not been black. And
Correct.
he finally had to admit to that. Yeah, you know
Yeah,
what? This would have happened.
if you wouldn't have racially profiled us at the beginning, none of this would have happened. And my thing is too, like if you really look at
Yeah,
it, how many situations can we really say wouldn't have happened if they wouldn't have been racially profiled? If we talk about all these young
exactly.
black
I
men
mean,
and black
everything
women,
from, man,
yeah, Trayvon Martin to everything, everything was a
it
black
wouldn't have
person,
happened. I
yeah,
mean,
feeling
it
like a
wouldn't
white
have
person
happened.
feeling like a black person was out of their way or doing something they wasn't supposed to do, so they took it upon themselves or they went to go and do something when none of this stuff had to happen. And then
Exactly.
the
Exactly.
thing to me too though was
So,
like
and I mean, I
I
love the
think
fact.
I think it was symbolic though for me for the white dude who killed the dude's son, and for him to finally figure it out and see the big picture and was like, I'm gonna walk you out. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna go and make sure that you're okay. Blah blah blah. He did everything he was supposed to do. Nobody
Yeah,
got hurt in the whole thing. As soon as they got outside, bam. And that's to me, that's America in a nutshell.
solid.
Like it don't matter what the police do. And I hate that argument where we always be, well, we got to do more than march. The thing is, when we do more than march, they're aggressive with us. So you see us marching in the summer and all them people being on the Lincoln Monument, where compared to the rioters and nobody's there. Like all these white people are gonna come out here with guns, done took over the Michigan State Capitol before. We're gonna let them come out here and be whatever. But let some black people
Hmm.
come out here and sneeze the wrong way. We're gonna kill all of them. And I feel that's the conversation that has to continue to be pushed in America.
Yeah, yeah. And we keep saying the same thing, man. And I think people know it, especially if Joe Biden can know it now and actually have the guts to say something as the president of the United States, then nobody has any. You don't have an excuse. I mean, you have to know that what you see. You know what I mean? Like I said before, if it was any other group doing the same thing, it would be a different response, especially for Black folks. If we actually did the same thing, there'd be a different response. And that goes back to there has to be equal justice under the law. And right now, there is not. And I think that movie showed the other one, Judas and the Black Messiah, man. I actually looked at it. Um, I looked at it on Saturday and I walked away from it because before I even saw the movie, I didn't. It's not like I did a whole expose on who Fred Hampton was. So
Correct.
a lot of this was brand new to me. Like I had never actually, you know what I'm saying, went through and looked at his history or when I think of Black Panthers, I'm thinking about the LA one. You know what I mean? And that's the
The
one we
Oakland
always
ones.
seem
The
to
Oakland
focus
ones
on.
is yeah,
But
the
I did
Oakland
not know
ones.
the chapters. Oakland, excuse me. I didn't. Yeah, I didn't know that the other chapters, especially up there in Chicago, were that big. You know what I mean? But what
Hmm.
he did though, I when you talk about him, my takeaway from that movie, the scenes that I took away that I was like, okay, that was interesting, was the one where he went and talked to the white folks.
Hmm. Yep.
When he went to go talk to those dudes who were basically, I don't know what gang they were from or whatever the case is, but he walks in with the Black Panthers. There's a big old Confederate flag sitting on the wall. This guy's
Hmm.
up there speaking. And basically, he was just like, man, look, the police, they harass y'all too. We all we all on the same side of this tracks here. So
Yeah.
it just kind of, man, it just showed me where his head was. And to think his head was hurt, he was only what, 20 years old, 21 years old, actually like 19 when all that happened. So at that, then that takes a lot of guts to do that, man, because I don't think you can see that happening today. You know what I mean? Like I don't know if there could be a coalition of people like that. What do you think?
Uh, I don't think we're built the same no more, man. I feel like in the '60s, everybody felt like they were a part of the struggle. You know what I'm saying? I feel like even if you were all Martin, you felt like you were part of the
Mhm.
struggle. If you were all Malcolm, you felt like you were part of the struggle. And I think everybody went about part of the struggle in different ways. You know what I'm saying? And I'm pretty sure you had a group of black people that probably thought they were doing better than the regular black people that didn't really get into that or anything like that. So you always had that contingent. But to me, I feel like in the '70s when money got a little bit looser for other people in the '80s, when people kind of start to separate themselves, and you'll be those, you know what I'm saying? You might have those athletes or those entertainers or doctors or lawyers who's kind of separated. It's not the same feeling in the black community where it was like, man, we got to go out here and make the change right now. So I don't think we have the same overall. I don't think we have the same focus on trying to improve. And it feels like today, man, like just like from the conversations that we have with people who continue to be like, well, the voting process is so and so, or Biden is out here to do that. You know, all them conversations we have continuously now with people, it's not a it's. I don't think everybody is out for us. I think everybody's out for I right now. I want to make sure my family's good. I want to make sure I get this, and I do that. But it's not a we. It's
Yeah,
not like I want to make sure black people are good, or I want to make sure our communities are better. So I don't think we have that same like
yeah.
caring for the whole community that they had back then.
The mentality, yeah, I think the mentality is different because I think the struggle isn't as deep as it once was.
Yeah. And you
So,
have so many people that feel like
I
they made
mean,
it.
man, the struggle is still the struggle.
I'm sorry, I'm just saying, like, I feel like you have so many people that feel
Yeah,
like they made it that a lot of people be like, oh, that's not my problem. Or if you even, man, how many conversations have you had with black people where they be like, well, you know, I ain't really worried about that, or that's outside of what I do, or you know what I'm saying? You have a lot of those still in a climate where information is so readily available for people to go out and read stuff and see stuff. We still refuse to do a whole bunch of basic stuff. And you have, you know what I'm saying? You have so many people out here worried about the wrong things or you know what I'm saying, monetary things or like, you know what I'm saying, that kind of thing that nobody really cares about us as
hey,
a people.
yeah. And you know what's crazy is that what you just said was actually shown in the movie in one specific scene. I don't know if you remember this scene or not, but there was a young man who went to go see his one of the Black Panthers got shot and he was in the hospital. There was a young man who went to go see him. And when he went to the hospital to go see him, there was a guard there. But before he got to the guard station and was told not to go in, there was a black janitor at the hospital. And he was like, "What's going on, brother? What's up, man?" Apparently, they know each other from the street or whatever the case is. And he was like, "Man, what you doing up here?" And he was like, "Oh, I'm about to go see my brother so and so who got shot." And he was like, "All right, cool, cool." Anyway, so it turns out that the police actually killed him, the man who was in the hospital.
Mm-hmm.
And when he went to go confront the janitor about, trying to get some information about what happened, the janitor was like, "I can't say nothing. I'm not losing my job over none of this stuff." And I feel like there are still some people who feel like, man, I got a good thing going. I don't want to cut the grain. I don't want to go against the grain. I don't want to cause any ruffles or any feather, or, you know what I'm saying, ruffle any feathers or anything like that. And I understand that. And you know what I mean? It's easily understandable. You don't want to ruffle any feathers. I get it. But at the same time, man, if we could just focus on the main picture, like we're both doing okay for ourselves as black men, but we know looking out, there's still a problem with how this nation treats black men. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And we can identify with that because we've seen it personally in our own lives and we
Yeah.
felt it personally in our own lives. We witnessed it in our own lives. And so we can come back and say, yeah, this is true. And we can fight for that cause or do whatever we can for that cause. You know what I mean? And and it not just be about us personally.
I think you
So
would be. I think you would be a
um
fool though. I think especially like as a black man for me, man. Like so, you know what I'm saying. I have a decent job. You know what I'm saying. I've been in my position for a long time, man. But I'd be foolish to look you in the face and be like, I don't deal with racism. It might not be as bad as what it was before, but I still get people who don't.
oh yeah.
You're the black supervisor. You're the one they question first. You know what I'm saying? The HR people come in and talk to your employees before they talk to everybody else's because you're the black supervisor. So man, for me to even think I have a decent job and I don't have to deal with that no more is foolish. I'm gonna have to deal with being black until I die. There's no way around that.
Mm-hmm. That's it. That's it, man. And on top of that, man, like people don't know how crazy it is to even have these discussions with people at work. You know what I mean?
Yes,
Or
yes.
you know what I mean? Like because number one, a lot of times the white people will look to you to try to explain everything, but then another time, you just be like, I don't want to have this conversation with them because number one, they're not gonna understand it. And we've had these conversations multiple times, and it feels like a lot of it is just going over the head, or they don't want to hear it. And so
They
you
don't want
get
to hear
tired
it.
of actually trying to have a conversation.
Yeah, like so.
Yeah.
The man. So the crazy thing to me is like my at my job. You know what I'm saying? At my job for years, man. There was a person that I work with. You know what I'm saying? And I would every time something happened, I'd be like, "That's racist." The way they treat. You know what I'm saying? We had a black payroll lady, and we had a white director, and the white director couldn't stand the black payroll lady, but he wasn't above her, so he couldn't do anything to he couldn't do anything to get her in trouble, and it bothered him. You know what I'm saying? So situations
Mhm.
would happen with them, and I would be like, "Hey, that's racist. Hey, that's racist." And the person I would talk to, man, they would be like, "Well, I don't think it's racist or so and so," and I'm like, "I am a black male. You are a white female. I am telling you, this is racist." But then on the other hand, I had another white lady that I work with. Her name was Laura Listenby, man. And Laura was like, instead of Laura always being like, "Hey, this is wrong" or whatever, she was listening. She just would listen over and over. She would listen. Man, if she had an opinion, she might say something, but at the most time, she would just listen. And then she would come to me and be like, "Z, I see this. What does this mean? Or how does this feel?" And like, bro, this summer, I've seen Laura go from being like just like a white lady who would be like, "Well, I know a little bit, and that's probably not my thing," to being like the advocate
Mhm.
that you want your white friend to be. You hear me? Like the one who's telling her people like that's
Yeah.
racist and I'm not standing for it. The ones who teaching her children like or being like, "This is the podcast you got to listen to and you got to do so and so like that." And I believe there's a lot of white people who can be that advocate, but you don't see it as much as you need to. And I think that's where the problem lies.
Yeah. Man, oof. Yeah, I agree with that 1000%, man. And those are the people that I really, uh, man, I can't say it enough. We Our society is a big old problem with just listening.
We're listening.
Most people actually just listen to react. Yeah, most people just want to listen until they're ready to react. But all we're asking for is for you to listen. That's it. Just listen.
Bro,
You'll probably never understand it, but as long as you can comprehend it, you know what I'm saying. That's really all we're looking for. And
bro,
most people
and
can comprehend a simple fact that wouldn't have happened if it was a black person. You know what I'm saying? Like you can comprehend that fact. You
bro,
may not be able to understand it or try to walk through it in your own shoes, but you can comprehend as a white person that yes, if that person was black, that would have been a little bit different. That situation would have been a little bit different. So that's it.
I think it's just hard for
Man,
people to admit.
one of the things that got me.
I just think it's hard for people to admit. I think some people feel so much like there is no racism that when they do see the racism, they can't believe that like that is still happening to this time. And instead of them speaking up and saying something about it, they just be like, "That's got to be an isolated incident. That can't be the way." You know what I'm saying? That things happen all the time. Instead of like, man, call that like I don't know if this happens all
Yeah.
the time, but this specific situation, that's terrible. Say that. That's all you have to say. You don't have to go out here and crusade for racism, but I'm telling you, if you see a video of a black man with a knee on his neck for 9.5 minutes, say that is that's there's something wrong with that, and I'm not cool with it. That's all you have to say.
Something wrong. Yeah.
Oh,
But wait, Z, my best friend is black. I can't be racist. What are you talking about, Trevor?
I don't see color.
Man, one of
I
the
don't
things that
see
got to me too
color.
about watching these movies, man. Oh,
Yeah, I don't see color. That
I see your character only. I see it only.
or we're all humans. We're all
Hey, man.
humans.
So one of the things too that yeah, I'm sorry, but we all see color in some kind
Did you see that with the
of
dude
way.
from oh
Man, one of the
did
things that
you
got to me too.
I'm sorry to interrupt though. Did you see that with the dude from the dude
No,
who
what?
played
Go
in
ahead.
Judas and the Black Messiah, the dude who played Fred Hampton? Like somebody cut up an interview where he was like, "I believe we're all from the human race," and they just played that part. And that's probably why I don't know if you paid attention, but there's a lot of conversations online right now about British actors playing American heroes. Have you seen that?
Pop up, but I haven't seen that. Yeah.
Okay. All right, my bad.
Oh no, man. So I was just actually thinking because after watching that movie, and then um, I was thinking about BLM, man, Black Lives Matter, and how it is literally being trashed about like, oh, they don't care about they really don't care about black people. They only care when somebody's getting shot. And I think that um that's because of like the stigma of like a Crump, the attorney Crump, who just goes out there and gets money for people in the lawsuits and the civil suits.
Hmm.
Um, I think there's a stigma of they don't really care if it's black on black crime, blah 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 blah. And that always irks me because I always try to give people the reasoning Black Lives Matter started not because of black on black crime. But if you want somebody to tackle it, or if you want somebody to say black on black crime is bad, I'll be happy to tell you it's bad, but that's not the purpose of what we were standing for. I mean, it kind of it's almost like if nobody else, no other group is put to the same standard. So like if there was I don't know, let's say there was a shooting downtown of an LGBTQ member, you know what I mean? And they got into it and killed somebody. Nobody would be like, where's the LGBT community that's speaking out on behalf of this? Don't they care about their people? You wouldn't see that happen. But when it comes to Black Lives Matter, whenever somebody is shot in the hood, they're like, well, where's Black Lives Matter at? They don't care about this. No, man, it's a completely different topic. And I hate having to actually be defensive when it comes to that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But watching this stuff made me feel like there needs to be more organization. There needs to be more, because like there's not, the NAACP had chapters. You know what I mean? They had offices set up in different communities. The Dream had so many different offices in different communities and chapters that you could go to and call. BLM is just a movement. I mean, like people talk about how, oh, have you been onto BLM's website and saw their vision and this and this and this? And I'm like, man, they are really not as organized as like an NAACP or something like that. It's really just a movement, and I kind of feel like that hurts to a certain degree. You know what I'm saying?
So,
Like I feel like there should be more organization, but there's not.
so what the thing is for me, and where the problem lies is, if you really look it up, I believe there's a Black Lives Matter organization, and then there's like a Black Lives Matter so and so. So I believe it's almost like two organizations, and I believe there's leaders in different ones, and one of them has a different philosophy, and I think so. What happens is when you have the right wing people, they go to the website and they see whatever
Mhm.
this organization is, and they assume that's what the whole thing is. When like what I try to tell my white friends is like, most of us say, when we say Black Lives Matter, I am telling you that my life matters. This is not nothing from an organization. This is not nothing from somebody else. I don't know who the leader is. I can't tell you all I am telling you is that I hope me and my family can go and live a regular life and do regular stuff. You know what I'm saying? And not be gunned down by the police. And so like I think the fact that it's not a clear, like, this is the organization, this is the leader, this is how everything works, that has been used for the people to do what they do now, and for them to continue to be like Black Lives Matter is fascist and it's blah blah blah. And it's like, bro, I don't even know who you're talking about. When you talk about this dude who you say is the leader of Black Lives Matter, I don't know him. I don't know nothing about him. All I'm saying is I
Yeah,
don't want to die at the hands of a police officer. But I
yeah.
believe that's the
I
same
mean,
thing. I believe that's the same thing as the NFL protest, though, because we can tell you what we're saying, and you can keep on telling me it's about the flag and we're disrespecting veterans. I keep telling you what I want or what I'm doing this for, and you keep on telling me what this means. When I'm like, that has nothing to do with what I'm saying.
yeah, yeah, man. It's a and it continues to be a hard conversation, but I feel like the harder it is, the more we have to have the conversation. You know what I'm saying?
But how many times do
It's
you have the
rough,
conversation when they refuse to listen?
bro. I don't know. Hey, if I knew, if we knew, we wouldn't be having this conversation right now.
You can't keep on having a conversation if people ain't gonna listen, and that's what we talked about earlier. People don't want to listen.
Yeah, it's rough, man. It's rough. All right, man. So along with the music and movies, or excuse me, the movies and the culture, man, let's do some music real quick. We ain't chopped up about music in a minute, bro. So you said you want to actually go over the top female groups of the 90s, R&B.
R&B.
R&B, man. Top female groups of the 90s. Number one, you know how many female groups in the 90s was cold with it? Like,
But
that's a lot, man.
that's why I wanted to have the conversation because I'm missing a few. I'm in my mind. I'm like, I know I'm missing a few groups because I can't off the top of my head. I could think SWV, Escape, In Vogue,
Uh-huh.
TLC, 702, Jade, and that's where I feel like I start Destiny's Child. You know what I'm saying? Where I feel like, who am I missing? You know what I'm saying?
Honestly, I think you pretty much got just about. I'm thinking about the top ones, not the middle of
Okay.
the crew ones, like the what was Changing Faces. Like I give them like the middle of the one
Okay.
album, maybe one song, one hit song crew. I'm talking about the groups that actually had albums that were like, oh, okay, bet. You know what I mean?
So who's number one
Um,
to you?
see, I was just, oh God, that's too hard. See, I was thinking the top 3 or 5.
Okay.
Uh, and that would be hard enough for me because I mean I gotta put TLC in the top 5 because they had too many hits
They did have the
and
hits.
they
I'll
were
give you that.
they they were I think they were not necessarily a game changer but a trendsetter.
I'll give you 10
Um,
set. I won't give you game changer. Agreed.
uh, In Vogue I'm putting in that top 5 list as well too
Agreed.
because to me they were when they came out they all could sing. They were all just they caught us. They were gorgeous black women. They could all sing. Literally, man, they took the whole industry by storm. If you ask me, that was one. Oh God, man, I would be hard pressed not to put Destiny Child in there, even though I didn't. I think that the blow up really happened with Beyonce, not Destiny's Child. It's kind of hard not to put them in there, though. You know what I mean?
Destiny Child. I think if we looked in and we talked about hits, I would think Destiny Child had as many like huge hits as almost any other group we're gonna name outside of probably and they might match up with TLC. But I think Destiny Child, when you talk about hits, when you think about Bills
Yeah.
and Bugaboo and you know what I'm saying,
Yeah. No,
Jumping
I mean
and
they had a
you
lot.
know what I'm saying, they had hits. Like Destiny Child had hits. Even where I think for
Yeah.
me, I'll pick SWV over Destiny Child and TLC all day just because I like the SWV and Escape better.
Well,
But I don't think
that
they
was gonna
had
be my next one
hits.
actually.
Yeah.
Ooh, SWV.
Not as many hits as probably not as many big hits, not many like pop. Like I think SWV probably had a lot of R&B hits. I don't think they probably had as many
Oh,
like
okay.
big crossover
Well, top
songs
hits like that.
like TLC
No,
and
no,
Destiny
yeah,
Child did. I don't think In Vogue
no.
or Escape did either.
Or In Vogue, actually, it was a different time period though, man. Don't you think? Like we still had Video Soul. You know what I mean?
I believe every group that we
Like,
name, I believe every group we named was probably on Video Soul though. Like I believe every
yeah,
group
but
now.
I mean, like, well, yeah, you're right though, because TLC was like a crossover wonder. And Destiny Child was too. So, but they weren't. Yeah, they weren't. In Vogue and SWV were not more like crossover hits.
No, Waterfalls is
So
not an
yeah,
R&B song to me. It's not like a super R&B song. When I think about Waterfalls, I'd be like, I mean, I
they're
understand how
more of a
big it
pop.
was and how important it was, but I'm not
Yeah.
listening to Waterfalls over What's It Gonna Be by In Vogue or you know what I'm
And
saying,
so,
Downtown by SWV or something.
hey man, so I gotta say, man, like I would say Tears. How about that? Because like I'm putting Total and Escape on the same tier.
I'm not putting Total and Escape on the same tier. Escape
You
Escape
wouldn't?
is no Escape is top tier when it comes to female group. I think Total is second tier. Total is
Really?
the same. Total is the same tier to me as like 702. Like I love 702, but they ain't gonna compete And Total's not gonna compete with no. Total is more in line with TLC as far as vocal ability to me, but they just didn't have humongous hits like TLC did. But as far as vocals, I think TLC and Total's on the same page. I think SWV, Escape, In Vogue, they're gonna and Destiny Child, they're gonna sing circles around TLC and Total all the time.
Oh yeah, of course, of course, of course. Now we talking about just plain old fashioned vocals. I gotta go with In Vogue as far as the vocals, like period.
I would put
If
Escape
we talking
first.
at the top,
I'm going with Escape first. I think Escape probably had two girls that were. I think that them sisters. I think them sisters is like church, like old school church. I'm gonna bring you to like singing. And then I think Candy had that different voice with her low voice, and then Tiny had like a decent voice too. Because if you think Tiny sung Tonight, and there was another song that she sung that was big too that Tiny sung. So to me, I think they had more soulful voices than In Vogue. But everybody in Vogue could sing, and
for
everybody in
real?
and everybody in Escape could sing. So I definitely go. I'm not mad in Vogue though.
Okay, I was gonna say I gotta go In Vogue, man. Ooh, and Don. Oh, Jesus,
But
Lord,
so I think
yeah.
you're going with In Vogue just because of how they look, though. Because if you think about it,
No,
one of
no,
them
bro.
girls in Vogue, the short one, I don't think she sung that well.
No, it was only really the well, no, they would
See,
have like different parts
see,
of the song where you could tell they actually
see,
sing. But
see.
but when they did sing, they sang, man. And it was fine too. So.
But then and then
Anyway,
too, I'm about to say, and then too, if you tell me that Candy and Tiny wrote half of TLC songs too, right,
oh yeah, that's pretty crazy.
bro?
That's pretty crazy. Um, and you know what, man? Like, I've talked to some people who don't like SWV.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they don't like the way the old girl sang, but I swear they had some hits though, man. Like, chicks had some super hits.
Yeah, I believe my wife is like
Like,
this.
yeah.
She always said like Coco wasn't the greatest singer. But I thought Coco sung well. You know what I'm saying? I thought I liked SWV. I thought their first album was a classic. I believe
Mhm.
if we really talk about these groups, man, how many of these female R&B groups got classic albums? Not just hits, but classic albums. And I think SWV's
Albums.
first album was classic. Just like I
I give
think
you that. I give you that.
Traces of My
Because they had
Lipstick by
what?
Escape was classic too.
That the SWV first one had what, like Weak and
All right, Downtown.
All Right.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
like
had all of them on there. And then
Right
they did the
Here.
remix one with the Human Nature remix one.
Hmm. That was a hit
Yeah, they did the
already.
Human
So
Nature
that
remix.
charted twice. It
Yeah,
charted as a regular song and a remix. Then they had the
and
All
then the
Right
remix.
song, the Anything song. They had Anything Was Slow on the first album. Then they remixed the Anything with the Wu Tang on the
I remember
Above the
that.
Rim. Yeah, man. So that
Yeah,
first
yeah, I
album was
remember
like
that.
Downtown. The song You're Always on My Mind, bro. I think they might have had 7 videos off of that album.
Bro, yeah, that was a pretty hit, man.
Hmm.
Yeah. All right, so before we get out of here, man, I got a question for you then. So, best music of the 90s, do you think it was the female groups or the male groups? The R&B groups?
I'm gonna have to go with the male R&B, man. I think just because it was so much more. Man, I think it was the best time for R&B, male or female. But if I had to go with my
Mhm.
best, I would go with just because I'm thinking about like how many, dude. It was a lot in the '90s. It was a lot of great R&B music,
Oh,
and I think it
you
was more by
had,
men.
bro, you had like J.E. New Edition was still, you know what I'm saying, on in the early 90s. You had Jodeci, Drew Hill, 112, Boys to
Boys to
Men,
Men,
Guy, High
Intro,
Five. It would have
H
had
Town,
intro, bro. H Town, man. There was a whole bunch of
Ideal,
groups.
yeah,
Man. Next, I mean, you had
Next,
groups
yep.
out of the wazoo. Yeah, and so now, man, what has happened to R&B, bro? I'm confused. You know what? I listen to the radio every so often before I go to work. I start my car up and it's automatically going on to the radio. And I know it's just the old part of me, man, but bro, I don't know what am I listening to? Z, what am I hearing?
I believe R&B is the same thing we talked about the black community. I think, especially when it comes to groups, you can't have groups no more because everybody wants the money for themselves. Nobody wants to take
That
us.
is true.
There's no more Otises. You know what I'm saying? There's no more Otises and Blues who's just gonna be cool doing my thing. You know what I'm saying? I think everybody wants to be Beyonce now, so you don't really have groups no more. You know, and it's just it's a
Yeah,
me thing,
that's
and I
true.
think the line between R&B and rap has been blurred so much, man, that you have a lot of R&B singers that do a lot of rap stuff. You know what I'm saying? And I think it's vice versa. And everybody's not really good at it. And then you have a lot of these rappers that's all pretty much just singing songs. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
it's been
It's
blurred
called
so
a
much.
it's called the
Yeah,
Drake effect.
but
All
I
right, man.
don't think
Hey,
I was gonna say I just don't think Drake uses auto tune like everybody else though. Drake would actually, if you listen to the anything is brand new, he's like actually singing. He might not be singing great, but he's singing, and it's not no auto tune stuff. So I ain't gonna blame that on Drake.
no, but he did start a lot of the process though.
I agree.
But I like Drake. I like Drake stuff, so I can't say nothing.
I'm not mad at Drake at
But all
all.
right, man. Ah, man. Hey, we actually need to go over male groups on our next conversation, man. And go
We
over
could
some of the
definitely do
top.
that.
Let's see if we can go over some top hip hop groups too.
Okay.
New Orleans groups of the 90s. That'd be dope. That'd be dope. All right, man. Anything else, man, before we get out of here?
No, that's all I got, bro.
Hey, all right, cool. It was good chopping it up, man. As usual, please click like. Find us on YouTube. We are now broadcasting. Where is he? Let them know.
You can find us on Apple Podcasts. You can find us on Google Podcasts. You can find us on Amazon Podcasts or YouTube still. So that's all the places
Bet.
that you can find us now.
All right, good deal, good deal. So like, subscribe. Thank you once again for viewing Chopping It Up with G and Z. Y'all have a good one.
Appreciate it.